Don't forget folks, before we go any further, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, ring the bell and all that jibber jabber, and thank you very much for supporting Invincible Asia. There's something incredibly fresh and appealing about Patrick Tam's wuxia classic, The Sword. Even over 40 years after its initial release, the highly praised Golden Harvest production still proves to be a gripping piece, recently restored and released on Blu-ray by Eureka Video, which was a very welcome addition to any true fan's collection. The film tells the tale of a cursed sword, an ill-fated love triangle, and a young swordsman who wants to fulfill his quest to become the greatest of them all. By today's standards, it may just seem like a typical wuxia storyline, but its worldly influences and modern adaptation help make the sword stand out from those that came before it, as well as, ultimately, setting the tone for what was to follow. Prior to making this phenomenal feature film debut, Patrick Tam had been making quite the name for himself with Hong Kong television station TVB via shows such as CID and Seven Women. After studying film in San Francisco in the late 1970s, Tam left TVB to begin work on The Sword and is seen today as one of the original new wave directors of Hong Kong cinema, alongside the likes of Choi Hark, John Woo and Johnny To, who delivered similarly themed films with the likes of The Butterfly Murders, Last Hurrah for Chivalry and The Enigmatic Case respectively. Of course, there were many more who delivered other genre works, such as Josephine Xiao with Jumping Ash, Alex Chung with Cops and Robbers and Man on the Brink, and Anne Hoy with The Secret, The Spooky Bunch, and many more. Interestingly, and to date, Patrick Tam has only directed 9 feature films over the course of 40 years, delivering the most of those throughout the 1980s, such as Love Massacre, Nomad, Cherry, Final Victory, Burning Snow, and My Heart is That Eternal Rose. While he was kept busy as a film teacher and editor of films such as Wong Kar-wai's Days of Being Wild and Ashes of Time, along with films such as Jeff Lau's Days of Tomorrow and Johnny To's Election, Tam would return as a director about 17 years later with After This Our Exile starring Aaron Kwok. Another 14 years later, he would deliver a directed segment for the anthology film Septet, The Story of Hong Kong, alongside directors Sammo Hung, Anne Hoy, Yuen Woo-ping, Choi Hark, Johnny To, and the late Ringo Lam. Backed by another fantastic score by prolific composer Joseph Koo, The Sword was primarily shot at the Golden Harvest Studios, allowing Tam to have more control over the lighting and set pieces, which really explode off the screen courtesy of Bill Wong's stunning cinematography in what would only be his second film project after John Woo's comedy From Riches to Rags. Over the years, Wong would lens many Hong Kong classics such as The Story of Wu Wei, All the Wrong Clues, Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain, Yes Madam, Kickboxer, Kung Fu Cult Master, Once Upon a Time in China, Women on the Run, and many of Tam's earlier titles. Personally, I've always felt that The Sword came across like John Woo's wonderful 1979 wuxia movie, Last Hurrah for Chivalry, with shades of Tony Ching Su Tung's incredible Duel to the Death. Of course, part of that is down to Ching being the action choreographer here on The Sword, a job he had been doing for almost a decade prior after following in his father's footsteps, having worked on Shaw Brothers titles such as The 14 Amazons, The Shaolin Boxers, The Tea House, Monkey Kung Fu, and many others, most of which saw him also appear throughout. Here, in The Sword, Ching delivers a host of incredible and fast-paced hyperkinetic sword battles that most certainly don't disappoint. From fight scenes with crazy swordsmen and deadly killers, to showdowns on wooden towers and the ultimate clash of blades between China's finest warriors, the fight action on offer caught the attention of a certain Raymond Chow, head honcho of the fast-rising Golden Harvest Studios, who would go on to offer Tony Ching Su-tung the chance to make his own directorial debut with the aforementioned and hugely entertaining Duel to the Death just a few years later. While the cast of The Sword is pretty small, it's also pretty impressive, with the swordsman of the century, Adam Chang, leading the way as Li Mu Ran. Having already impressed on both the big and small screen for well over a decade before this, actor, singer and heartthrob Cheng Su Choi had been swinging a blade in many film and television productions to great acclaim that it seemed only right that Patrick Tam should cast him as the leading man. But his experience here also allowed Chang to show a different side to his skills via Tam's contemporary approach to directing and Ching Su-tung's fast-paced style of swordplay. From his physical attributes to his charming personality and solid acting chops that are highlighted even more in a number of lengthy one-shot scenes, Adam Chang proves why he was the right man for the job. On the opposite side, and impressing just as much as he has done many times before, is Shaw Brothers star and late Hong Kong legend Norman Choi Soo-kung. By this stage of the game, Choi had starred in a prolific amount of films, both as a co-star and leading man, with 1980 proving to be a fun year with some interesting titles. Aside from his powerful role here in The Sword, Soo-kung also starred in Choi Hark's highly entertaining We're Going to Eat You, the Taiwanese wuxia flick Fight for Glory, alongside his Shaw Brothers co-star David Chang, Wilson Tong's kung fu comedy The Young Avenger, Eric Chang's brilliant film The Loot, again with David Chang, and the superb martial arts historical drama The Rebellious Reign for producer Lo Wei. Together, Choi Soo-kung and Adam Chang share one of the film's biggest fight scenes that is guaranteed to leave viewers breathless and in awe, delivering a final move that left me on the edge of my seat. Interestingly, Choi Soo-kung would be cast as one of the leads in Tony Ching's Duel to the Death just a few years later, starring as the student of a ninja master named Kenji, who was played by the ageless and prolific Eddie Ko, another co-star of The Sword. Playing one of Choi Soo-kung's deadly assassins, the fantastic Eddie Ko Hung had already starred in almost 60 films prior to this, including classics such as The Blade Spares None, The 14 Amazons, A Tooth for a Tooth, The Avenging Eagle, The Butterfly Murders, The Thundering Mantis, and We're Going to Eat You alongside his co-star once again. Fans will also enjoy the supporting roles from stars such as the great Tian Feng, brilliant Li Hoi San, and the great Lau Su-ming, a highly regarded Chinese ballet dancer who had just made his film debut in Choi Hark's atmospheric classic The Butterfly Murders. Here, Lau plays a crazed caretaker of the sword who puts Cheng's skills to the test and looks great doing so, giving viewers a taste of what's to come with their introductory fight scene. All are joined by a bevy of beauties, with Taiwanese actress Jade Su delivering a fantastic role as the feisty and gorgeous Hua Yangzi. Sister of Kung Fu Queen and Keen Hu regular Su Feng, Jade's filmography may not be as lengthy as that of her siblings, but she still proves to deliver a strong and memorable role that is perhaps one of her finest. The lovely Jojo Chan, who only starred in 9 features over 2 years, including The Butterfly Murders, The Magnificent Butcher, The Phantom Killer, and All the Wrong Clues, also appears, as does Bonning Nai, who had just come off the set from John Woo's equally enthralling Last Hurrah for Chivalry, another Golden Harvest production that also saw the late Li Hoi San star. While its story may seem simple, focusing on a battle to see who is the most prominent swordsman of the land, The Sword is so much more thanks to all involved. To some degree, it may seem experimental, yet it never feels like a debut film. Stunningly shot, well acted, and beautifully directed in all departments, The Sword is a genuine classic of Hong Kong cinema and a testament to the filmmaking skills of a man called Patrick Tam.